Welcome everyone. Head coach Paul Haynes is with us as we head into week 9, and he will start us off with an opening statement.
Tough loss to Ohio. Again, hard-fought football game. Proud of our guys on how they stuck with it and came back. Went down 14-0. Really made a remarkable play on a long run that they had to have a touchdown-saving tackle with Najee Murray and Jarrell Foster, and then 2 plays later we got a turnover and had a chance to win the game at the end. Just couldn't get it done. But proud of our guys on how they prepare, how they fought to come back. There's a lot of good things on the tape that we were sitting there and moving the football. We just didn't capitalize, on a couple plays and gave up a couple plays, on defense. And, we talked to our guys this morning. In football, there's 5 to 6 plays that determine a game. For us, it's becoming 1 or 2. That we got to make sure that we continue our focus and make sure that we execute and we'll come out on top. So, it doesn't get any easier. We go on the road to a tough, hard-nosed football team in Central Michigan, very well coached. Quarterback is probably one of the best, in this league. And they're playing solid on defense. So, going to be a tough, hard-nosed football game. Always when you go up to Central Michigan, I think the weather's going to be a pretty decent 55, which is, pretty good for being up at Michigan at this time of year. So our guys will get prepared and we'll be ready to roll, on Friday. So looking forward to it.
Very teams go through something like this, losing this many games. Again, you can say 4 possessions, you could be
Yeah.
flip. Not only the players, how are they holding up, but how are the coaches holding up, just as a staff?
It's very frustrating just because, you lose 4 games in a matter of 14 points. You're averaging getting beat by 4 points or 3 points and stuff like that, and you know how close you are. But the one thing you got to really look at is the big picture, and the big picture is that we're getting better. We're just not, finding ways to sit there and win. And that's why as a coaching staff, we sit there yesterday and it's, you come in and you're so frustrated and you're upset after a loss, and then you sit there and you watch the film and there's a lot of good things that are happening. So you got to make sure that you're not, negative Nancy, with the players all the time, because they are doing some good things out there. So, it's frustrating, and everyone's frustrated just because you're getting the L's. But again, it's the big picture and it's the process.
For underclassmen, it's pretty not easy, but it's easier for them to kind of see that. But you kind of talked about your seniors and how good they've been all year. Obviously, they're huge right now.
Yeah.
Because it's slipping away from them a little bit.
Yeah, but again, it's all, they get another opportunity to go out there and play. And that's what you sit there and do. You can only control what you can control, and they are a good group, and they get the rest of the guys on going out there and preparing, because those guys do. And those guys go out and practice, and we talk to those guys, and I talk to those guys. Again, you sit there and you apologize that it's not happening right now, but it is happening, and we got to stick with it because, like you said, the younger kids are watching, and it's not about next year. It's about Central Michigan in this game, and that's what we'll focus on. And I don't see any letdown, from our guys, that our guys will go out there and, now we're playing better football teams, here coming up. So, we're going to have to go out there and play well, or things could fall apart, for us out there on the field.
Last week, obviously, the week before that, you got pretty banged up at Miami. Was the day after a little better?
Yeah, again, what week is this? We're going into week what? 9. Without a bye. That's pretty tough to do. So all the nicks and bruises, we got the same. Hopefully we can get a couple guys back. Hopefully we can get Will Matthews back. Hopefully we can get Wantez McCray back, going in the week. But we'll see with Wantez going through the protocol, and I think Will is feeling better. So we'll see with him during the week.
What What's up with Will?
His ankle.
And
Yeah.
what, did that happen in the game?
The last play of the game. Yeah.
Wanted to ask you about the offense, and then obviously you're week to week right
Yeah.
now. But I mean, okay, you made this major
Yeah.
change for obvious reasons because of injuries. But as you look forward to the program,
Mhm.
have you kind of made a commitment to this style of offense, or you just kind of getting through a year that's just been crazy with injuries?
Yeah, me and Coach Treadwell talked about that last week on just, because you really have to think about it because you're talking about recruiting, and it's a totally different style of recruiting. So we did have that discussion that moving forward, this is something that we probably will stick with, something that we will do, because even if you look at the two quarterbacks that we have that got hurt, they can fit into this system, also too. So, we just got to recruit around it, also to make sure that it continues to fit, with what we're doing.
Now, obviously, the guys around those players, though, weren't necessarily committed, recruited into that system.
Yeah.
That's kind of another issue that you have to deal with.
Yeah, but again, we recruit certain type of running backs, we recruit certain type of wideouts. So, so that doesn't change. Really, when you're just talking about one position, and that's really quarterback, and that's it.
The other thing I wanted to ask you is just that, obviously the ball's in Nick's hands a lot in this offense, or whoever the
Yeah.
quarterback is. Are you having any issues with some of the other guys not maybe getting as many touches? Obviously, they're not getting as many touches as they want, but is that an issue, or are you just kind of?
I think it's always an issue when you're losing. It's not an issue when you're winning. And shoot, I've been on undefeated teams that was an issue. Also too, because everyone wants to contribute and everybody wants to help. But I don't think it's I think we're not putting as many points on the board in the last couple of weeks, but we still are more productive than what we've been. And I think everybody feels their role, and they'll continue to do their role.
What are kind of the pros and cons with this offense in the long term?
Well, I think, again, the pros are we can move the football. We can run the football. You can control the tempo of it. You gotta be able to, and you look at that game, and you go back to the Buffalo game and why we were successful. We had a couple big long plays, pass plays and run plays. We missed a couple, in this previous game that if you make, it's a totally different game. So all the deception of the motion and all those things cause problems for defenses. And you can hit big plays, on defenses with this in a lot of different ways. It's almost kind of like wing tee football that you miss one tackle and it's out the gate. So those are the things. The cons of it, you don't want your quarterback hitting, getting hit and banged up, kind of like we're doing. And, like I said after the game, 41 rushes are a little bit deceiving just because every time we throw the football and he takes off, it goes down as a rush. So it's not like we're giving him and telling him to run 41 times, but we are telling him if it's not open, to go. When you look at even if it is Nick moving forward, the dude never passed the ball one time in the offseason. He never threw the ball one time over the summer. So those things are continue to get better with us also too. Our passing game will get better as we continue to stick with it and stay with it too.
Flipping over to defense, you threw a shutout in the second half after a rough start. Obviously, that turnover was a huge thing.
Yeah.
It just kind of seemed to turn the whole game over in every way, basically. But they had been playing pretty well out of the gate and then struggling at the end. Some encouraging signs there that they were able to regroup after a slow start.
You mean our defense? Yeah. We knew it was going to be tough for us. They pride themselves on running the football, and they got the big, I think it was 49-yard one to score on us, which again we had a couple missed tackles in it and everything. But our guys stuck with it and fought back, and I think they had one other long run. That long run that those guys had the touchdown saving tackle. And then other than that, we kind of settled down and did our job. So, we talked about those four. We always talk about those 4-minute segments. And, I think, in the previous games, we didn't do well in probably half of them, if not 3/4 of them. And in this game, we did well in 3/4 of them. We just didn't do well at the last. Last 4 minutes, we were not very good. When we get the turnover, have a chance to score, and we don't. And then we're in a 4-minute situation, and we can't get off the field to stop them. So those are the things. Again, it's just all 4 of them we got to do well. Our margin for error is so small that we got to win all four parts of that part of the game. We won the turnover margin, which was huge against them because they came in second in the country. So those part of it, and I felt we did well on special teams. But that was the area, again, at the time of the game, we didn't score with the ball on the 12, and we still had 2 timeouts with, 3 minutes to go that had them backed up that we can get the ball back and get field position, and we didn't do it.
One of the issues you had last year in particular was time of possession,
Yeah.
defense out in the field a lot. Kind of going back to the flip on the offense
Yeah.
again, a lot less 3 and outs this year. You did have a few in the last game, but
Yeah.
you also had a couple really long drives that obviously that helps your defense keep them off the field.
And that's what you talk about, again, kind of the big picture and the process that we're making strides wherever the drive. We got to close out the drives, but we are able to move the ball and get first downs and keep our defense on the sideline a little bit more.
Just a quick one on Hines. It seems like his football's working. He's kicked a couple.
This football's working. I saw you guys go back and forth with your with your tweets. But it all starts with the 4-second hang time on the kickoff, and I think he's getting better at it, and our coverage is getting better at it. So it's working for us. We had a punt block that we got to get better at. With protection, those things can't happen. But I think we're getting better at our special units.
Aside from the punt block, Adam had a real nice day. Hit in the back.
Yeah, and he's doing a good job. I mean, he's, like I said, he's there's things he's got to get better at. A sense of urgency a little bit some of the times. But again, to be a true freshman and come in there and punt like he's doing a great job for us.
Through the injuries and even in practice last week, you had to put a bunch of guys in there that you probably normally wouldn't. Is there anybody that's kind of opened your eyes a little bit through all?
I think the guy, and again, I think, he played a little bit for us. I think he's going to be a really good player for us down the road is Adam Gregory, offensive lineman. He's big, he's physical, and I think he'll continue to get better, for us. Really the injuries they really don't affect you so much a lot of times in your first and second team. It helps you in your scout. It hurts you in your scout team. When you got to move guys up away from the scout team, now we had 3 defensive linemen playing offensive line last week, which doesn't give you a great look when your defensive line is in the backfield making the plays, in practice. So those are the things that, you hopefully get those guys back to be your 1s and 2s, but when you got to move guys up and then you're struggling on scout team to get a great look, that's where it really affects you a little bit more, some of the times that people don't see.
Get a little more in depth on Central. I mean, you mentioned the quarterback being a big-time player, obviously. Can you talk about a little bit what he has around him?
He's got playmakers around him. They're big and tough up front. They pose problems because they actually get in pro, which you don't see in college football these days. So, Morris Watts has been around for a long time. So they cause problems. They spread you out, and then they get you in pro. So how do you sit there and match up to that, and what personnel do you get into? And when you don't see it a lot, the Sam linebacker is almost like a fullback. It's extinct, and no one has them in the program. So you got to makeshift. Are you going to makeshift one with your linebacking core, or are you going to makeshift one with the 5th defensive lineman in the game? So that's all the issues that Coach Needham and them are down there doing, right now as we speak, of how do you match up with their personnel? And then they get in 11 personnel, and then they flex the tight ends out because they have two very good athletic tight ends. So those are the issues and problems that they cause you. And the quarterback knows the system well. He can get them out of trouble. The same thing which causes the problems in tight formations, which like iPro is now they got two good wideouts there, and how do you defend them? Do you leave your corners out there on islands, or do you try to help them and then you don't have enough in the box? So those are all the issues that we'll face, on the defensive side of the ball. Defensively for them, they have always played us. They played us tough last year and made a bunch of plays, against us. And it all starts with them up front. They're very good up front. They can stop the run with their front seven, which just causes them to play more coverage. Again, just like everybody, they're going to load the box on us. So it's going to be tough for us to run the football. They're going to blitz, not overabundance, but they'll blitz. Greg Colby was here with me, at Kent State when he was the coordinator and I was a secondary coach, so he knows Kent State well. So it'll be a tough, tough road to try to move the football and run the football.
Obviously, the power teams seem to be in the West overall.
Mhm.
You guys, you played a bunch
Yeah.
of East teams. Chance for you, not only you guys, but a lot of the East teams to kind of
Yeah.
make a little bit of a statement here in the next few weeks that things aren't quite as, the gap's not as wide as it seems.
Yeah, again, this like I said, going on the road against Central is going to be tough, and then coming back home with Western will be a tough challenge. So they're two of the best teams on the other side. So huge challenge for us in the next couple of weeks.
Coach, just to backtrack a little bit, prior to this game, we had the Bitsko Lounge dedication.
Mhm.
Can you reflect on that, being able to do that for the family and that whole process?
It was awesome. Again, like I said in my speech, I would be remorse if I didn't mention Janet Kittle, who got we kind of had a vision of what we wanted, and she kind of took it and ran with it and presented something that was unbelievable. When I first saw it, it was unbelievable. When I walked in the room and first saw it, the lights were out, and hopefully we will show it, at some point in time. But it's a big plaque that lights up and has Jason Biscoe's name on it with the kind of the symbol of Ohio with the 2 stars on it. And the room was dark when I walked in, and that thing kind of lit up. And it just, one thing I remember about Jason is just his smile. And when I walked in there and saw it, it reminded me of Jason's golden smile, and that just, she did an unbelievable job with that, just making that thing light that room up. But the family, I talked to Randy and Pam, they text me later that night. Great gratitude for everything that everyone really did to make that day, super special. So, his legacy will always be a part of this program with that dedication in that room, and it means a lot to this program and this university.
It's mean to see so many players come back to so many of his former teammates.
It was awesome. It just kind of shows the how everyone felt about Jason. Not just as a player, but just as a person. I don't know, what is there, 10, probably 10, 15 players that came back, and it was not just about the game. It was just about that dedication of why they were there. So just it was a special time. It was done very well. President Warren gave a great speech, also too before I did, and it was really good to see the Biscoe family happy. They were super happy about how it turned out and what the university does, and did for them.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.